Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Tiff Talks Tech. Today, I'm super excited because I've invited my friend Justin Jones, who is the multifamily AI guy and also the founder of the Multifamily Q Space. And I'm really excited to touch on this topic, which is going to be talking about authenticity in the age of AI and identity in professional spaces. And I think Justin is the perfect person to talk about this. Before we really dive in, can you just tell us a little bit about your journey? And I know that you have a background in Broadway, and so that I think that's so cool and unique. And I just want to talk about like how did you go from that to multifamily and diving into tech, and how did all that happen?
Sure. Well, thanks for having me. It's really cool to get to talk about artificial intelligence, considering that, 1 year ago, I was the director of marketing for B2B and rentals at Realtor.com. And now I'm an AI evangelist at Hiley, one of our industry's AI and automation companies. And so talking about that difference is even just as interesting, I think, as going back, when I was on Broadway, I think in 2017 and grew
Yeah.
up in the theater. I think I'm kind of a chameleon. I really do like to learn and I like to tell stories. And so anything that I can do to find a pathway towards storytelling and engaging with audiences, that's my dream. So in my current role as an AI evangelist and multifamily's AI guy, it's about taking these compelling advancements in this technology and this kind of robust idea of artificial intelligence and making it like bite-sized, like a monologue or a song, and then driving it in a way that will engage you, the audience, to be able to kind of understand and process it. Just like in scene work, I'm trying to get you to do something, and that is to get you to understand and think through and process what's happening in our industry and beyond when it comes to artificial intelligence. So yeah,
Yeah.
I fell into multifamily by writing a rap song. True. I was a
No
content creator
way.
for my. It's actually true. I'll send the link. And I always say I do. I never do. I'm the founder of a company called RadPad. We became friends because he saw a concert I gave, and I wanted to be valuable to him. And I asked if I could write him a rap song. And then I asked if I could do this, and I asked if I could do this and do this and do this. And in this journey, maybe kind of taking myself away from musical theater and into tech, I realized a lot of these transferable skills. So I kept on asking him to do more and more and more. And I learned in my journey from, let's say, theater to tech, I had these transferable skills. And I think people in multifamily actually find that too. There's a lot of transferable skills in just being a good human into multifamily. So my journey was taking transferable skills that I didn't know had a title to them or like an actual functionality, those actually measurable into measurable functions and functionalities. So I became the community manager of Los Angeles, doing guerrilla marketing, customer experience, and sales all in one, launching RadPad, which was a mobile rental marketplace back in 2013. One of the first, if you consider us, Zillow, Zumper, Abodo, Lovely, Trulia, PadMapper, all of those, app-based experiences for finding apartments. I was working on that back in the day. And that helped me to learn how to tell a story. I said it was the physical manifestation of a digital experience. And I was engaging with mid-market, even independent property management to large PMCs like I'm working with now, and talking about how the mobile experience is where renters are now, and y'all have to catch up. And it was, again, taking that bite-sized thing, creating it into a song, creating it into a limerick or a repeatable call to action that I knew how to do from the theater into this kind of marketing relationships building experience.
Yeah, I love that you say you take those transferable skills. And like, I remember even back in the day doing those personality tests and then looking at them and going, oh my gosh, I don't have any of the skills that make a good leader, and freaking out about that. And like, it actually turns out that you do and you can, but you just have to figure out how to fit in. And like you said, you're so multifaceted, and there's definitely a place for you to fit in. So I think that's awesome.
And that's what we're talking about today, right? So I think if we cover one thing today in our little dialogue, it's that you out there watching, you, Tiffany, too, me, Justin, as much as I can talk about myself, is that we're unique, and our unique perspectives and experiences, lived truth, experiences, expertise are valuable assets to your team and your company.
Yep,
That's it.
exactly.
Yeah.
So, kind of diving in a little bit, how do you think that tech and AI is really changing the way that people express their identities in a workplace setting?
Yeah, I think I'm a man of age now, an elder millennial, right? So I've gotten to experience life without tech and life with tech. And I've noticed in my personal experience, which is why I think on my LinkedIn somewhere it says I'm a techno optimist. I've really enjoyed embracing technology and bringing it into what I do in my everyday life. I don't like reading directions, to my husband's chagrin. I like seeing something, breaking it
Yeah.
apart, and just learning it. So if you think about folks in my generation, we learned social media on the fly. And I think the generations after us, so if you look at Facebook, right, it was shouting in a crowded room, putting our thoughts out there, posting, hear me, I'm talking to you. And then the generation after us, they went to Snapchat. And instead of being a big crowded room, we went into tight, more curated communities, more like group chats. It wasn't about the big room. It was about small room where we could really engage. And now I think we see the next generation with TikToks creating unique content for an audience, a little bit of an echo chamber, if you will, due to algorithmic changes and what Facebook was for us when we first started versus what it is now. But if we think about what social media is now, we've grown to learn how to fit into this game, into the algorithm in order to create community. And I think that on the advent of social media and technology, even into where AI could take us next, community is the biggest, most amazing thing that's happened because of. And then if we think about what happened, during the pandemic and after the pandemic and in remote work, I think technology has earned that experience or has bolstered that experience to be more inclusive and helped us expand our hiring, expand the privilege of finding people from different facets, different parts of the world to collaborate with us. And for those of you who are back in the office and those of you who work on site, I understand you probably don't have the same kind of luxury. But for those of us who are, let's on the vendor side, and those of us who are working with regional managers from across the country, this technology that we're working with right now has created a way for us to not be on that conference call. This is Justin Southeast checking in. This is Tiffany Northwest checking in, but allowed us to get more face-to-face time and be more personable and engage more readily in what seems like an in-person experience.
That's so true. I know. I personally love being remote, and I don't think I could do it any other way, but I also have mad respect for anybody who is in the office and conversing on a daily basis with other people. And I think it's just so cool how tech has brought us to this place where we can do both.
We can do both. And, I was talking to one of my mentors named Natalie Carriola, and we were discussing in office versus out of office. And even with my other bosses, Ryan Kuhn, he was one of the founders of Avail. I was in the office once at Realtor, and Ryan was able to kind of like just tap me on the shoulder, right? And he didn't even say anything, but it was that tap on the shoulder moment that made me knew I belonged, and I was doing the right thing for the company and for the culture of the company. So I encourage everyone out here, whether you are working remote or whether you're in person, to think about those tap on the shoulder moments. And those are more challenging in the virtual setting.
Yeah.
But again, what can we do to utilize the technology at hand to make tap on the shoulder more real for everyone and in a way that is authentic to them? And that's the other cool thing about technology is we can use technology to make ourselves more authentic. And for me to learn, Tiffany, how to talk to you, how to, let's say, manage you in a more authentic way.
Yeah, that's very true. Do you think that with the rise in more of these tech developments that it can kind of hinder people from being themselves in that environment?
It depends how we set up technology in the environment and depends how we set up company culture and a culture of blank, a culture of the why. Do you think that purpose is driving everyone in the workforce now, or the majority of us in the workforce? Or maybe I can just speak personally. So I'll talk about me. Why would someone who is so passionate about musical theater and acting in the craft of theater jump to something that's very technical, something business driven? And I found purpose, and that's really, really important to me in all my endeavors is purpose. I feel that we are in the business of chosen family, and we're in the business of giving people home. And that drove me to say I'm doing something really valuable. Plus, I really love empty apartments, but I digress. I think they're like empty stages that you can fill with whatever you want. Like they're this beautiful blank canvas. So when I think about creating great culture, if we talk about purpose, then we have to think about how technology can bolster that purpose, but not be the blinder of purpose, right? Remember, it's still people. The people are the most important part of your company. Currently with AI, people have to be involved. Humans have to be in the mix. Humans in the mix is what I talk about a lot when I discuss with folks. Now, how do you mix? There's a lot of this and this and this and get you here, right? He's a storyteller. So we're having company culture that embraces humans, company culture that embraces technology. How do you work it all together? Well, that can be challenging. For instance, I started this work in 2013 on the advent of, if you will, the tech bros. I'm sure they were there before 2013, but I low-key was like in the middle of tech broing, and it was a real thing. This is a side note, Tiffany. You can cut this part out, but okay. So I'm in Los Angeles, and like I go to any stupid coffee shop, and I see like someone working on their script or someone getting ready for an audition or whatever the heck, and I'm like, I'm going to be in tech now. I'm not like everybody else. So I go to San Francisco, and then I'm in San Francisco, and at every coffee shop, someone's working on code, and someone's like, we're going to glide in this beep beep boop boop, or we're going to go to market strategy. It's like, oh my god, I've gone from one trite kind of, idea cohort to another.
Yeah.
Not original. But okay, I digress. So, a culture of using technology is all about access. So when it comes to the advent of technology, like how you're embracing technology culturally, you want to look at someone who you hear this a lot. Oh, they're culture fit. They fit in.
Mm,
And what we're thinking about now is actually no culture adds, culture expanders.
mm,
Now, when you think about expanding culture, and I'm just talking about like just say tech pros right now, we had to look beyond people who already knew inside baseball language or had the experiences or the access to technology to get them to want to talk about or be a part of or create technology. So when you're bringing in people to a company culture right now, think about what their experience with technology has been and how are you giving them all the technology possible and how are you giving them the training to utilize this technology? Because we don't all come from the same backgrounds. We
mm.
do not all come from the same experience or comfort with technology. I am an AI evangelist. I will pick up anything and learn it quickly. I love doing that. And I don't read directions. I just learn. I experience.
Yeah.
But there are other people who are more timid, right? Now, if we're both in the same office and I clearly am expanding faster than the other person, what happens to the second person? Are they not good at their job? Do they have something to add? No, of course they do. But their authentic experience, their lived experience, their background might not have had a computer in every room, an iPhone in the
Mm,
hand, the ability to jump on and utilize internet readily whenever they wanted. Remember, we come from different backgrounds. So we need to make technology accessible. And regionals, if you have technology that's on site, and I know it can be challenging. I know people can get, wow. My joke is that on-site is where great technology goes to die because they're so busy learning, doing everything,
yeah.
creating tech training around technology, even if there's a bit of friction, eventually will net out in dividends of value because when they're comfortable with it, they're going to be empowered by it. Flip side,
Yeah.
if you bring in technology that you do not train on and is not user intuitive, it's just going to sit there and die or make more problems. So I know it's a huge answer, so I'll try to go back and simplify it. You got to think about a culture of technology, a culture of human first. You got to think about what the culture was or what the experience of access was for that person you're hiring and make sure you're level setting. So even though Justin might be an AI evangelist, it's bringing up that second person so they can function just as strong as Justin. I wish I knew the number for this. One of the cool things right now I've heard about AI, let's say in customer service, is actually it's had a profound impact on junior employees, brand new employees coming in and learning, utilizing technology to better their responses, better their response time. It's had a more profound effect ramping up those folks to be as good as the tenured people. There hasn't been as much of an impact on our tenured folks. So like me, I would say like, maybe this new AI isn't impacting me as much because I had kind of let's say if I was an actor and let's say it was a junior actor and I'm a senior actor, like my acting is really very good, right? I've been trained, I know what I'm doing. But what it's doing, it's making these junior actors learn faster so they can get to my
Mm,
level quicker. That's really cool about what AI is doing right now.
yeah.
It's bringing up level setting. And I think that's because I think that's because AI has the ability to teach based upon personalized teaching methods. And you out there, my managers, can utilize AI to help learn how to train and can find AI tools that will train on your behalf in a more personalized manner to your team.
It's so true. I've always said I'm very convinced that you can pretty much do anything if you just have GPT in front of you. You can just look up the instructions or any kind of AI that you use. Like it will really help take you there. And I think that's definitely a great point with that as well.
I love the 80-20, right? And Christy Figert and I talk a lot about on the AI exchange now, which is the 80-20, learn the 20% to understand the breadth of it, the 80%.
Mm.
The idea of the 80-20 principle goes for a lot of things, but when specifically with learning, if you can learn this 20%, you can understand the lion's share of the material methodology, if you will. Yeah. What else you got?
Yeah. I know you kind of touched on this a little bit, but I want to dive deeper. I know that there are lots of challenges that marginalized communities can face when it comes to being themselves in a tech-driven environment. And I kind of want to talk about that and some of the things that you have noted on that. Like, what do you think those things could be?
Yes, I've been very lucky with companies, and I have to give a huge shout out to every company I've worked with. Zumper, for one, had affinity groups and ERGs in place when I joined, and I
Mm,
really thrived there. Realtor.com has directors of diversity, inclusion, equity, and philanthropy. Currently, I'm sitting as the founder of the Multifamily Q Space alongside Melanin and Multifamily, Hispanos and Multifamily, Latinas and Property Management, Multifamily Femmes, and more of these affinity groups that are coming through thanks to folks who are seeing diversity in our industry. Mentioned earlier that community, because of technology, has become more bolstered. So, for instance, at Zumper, we had a Slack channel, right? I'm out in tech, by the way, on Slack right now, where I can just talk to other queer members of technology. But specifically with artificial intelligence, we have to look at the term algorithmic biases. And that broken down is really this. And I bet you already think this. If AI systems are trained on non-diverse data sets, they will turn out non-diverse product answers, right?
And that's
The
what
thing
we're
about
afraid of, I think, in multifamily too, with like fair housing and all of that exists. We have to make sure that that's not the case.
Sure. There are technologies that can be fair housing compliance, like
Right.
when you're creating you have to be HIPAA compliant if you're creating a medical technology. So fair housing compliance can be put into prompting, can be put in the technology to a degree, right? Because it's still, again, humans in the mix. HIT, humans in the mix. Humans in the mix, people. It still needs a human to make sure that it's working. If you look at the systems that read resumes, right? Those can have biases. If we look at language processing tools that struggle with like non-standard dialects in a video or accents, that can create biases. If resume screening tools prefer different types of names for different types of things, that's biases. If you look at tech companies, and this is my big challenge to my vendors out there and then everyone out there in TV land who's creating artificial intelligence, you have to look around the room. And if we talk about culture, so this is going back to culture and hiring. If I walk in the room and I look to the left and the right and I see no other queer person, there's an opportunity that I might feel tokenized. Oh, it's Justin here. Ask him the question of what ad we should run for Pride. Hey, Justin, you are a gay. I also identify as Latino. I was raised in a white setting, just so you know, but I was born in Colombia. So being very mindful that someone would come to me and ask me about, does this resonate with the Latinx community? Honestly, I wouldn't know. I just happen to be of a different shade. If any of my friends who are trans and non-binary or Black or Latina or Latin, any of us walk into rooms and only see one, we can be tokenized. The other thing that can do is, if there's only one of us, it might be a comfortable setting, but there's not enough of us in the room. There might not be the checks and balances you need for someone to raise a hand and say, actually, this, that, and the other. I do know that Zillow has people who work in diversity who are on product teams as SMEs, which is really cool. To raise flags and raise hands if something feels fishy or something's not aligning with best practices of diversity. And that's not a bot, that's a human being. Human in the mix doing that work.
Yeah. I mean, that's a great point. I think about like even my husband, he's Latino and he was also raised in a white setting. And so am I. Same thing. And just he's a little bit darker skinned than I am though. And so people will walk up to him and just immediately start speaking Spanish. And he's like, I have no idea what you're saying. And both of us are in that boat. So it just like, you can't make assumptions about people and their experiences. And like you said, it's important to have that array of diversity in order to make sure that you're getting all the different points of view that you possibly can.
Yeah. And that's what tokenism. And I want to bring up something too. Intergenerational learning, I think, is really valuable too. I think it gets overlooked here and there, even in the tech space too. I remember Realtor.com was great. Realtor.com was the first time I got to go to a retirement party. One, because I come from startup, so retirement just means we all really just got fired. I got to go to my first retirement party, and I got to look around the room, and I saw people of diverse ages working. Now, we have to be mindful, too, in this industry, vendors and operators, that if you look at Justin, who types in, if you will, at early 30s, versus someone next to me who might seem older, does that mean I know technology better? We have to be mindful of these biases, even against people of age, because I think we have to be mindful too that I can't speak for all queer people, right? I can't speak for all Latin people. Certainly, I can't speak for all cis men. I certainly shouldn't. I think if in tokenism too, when it comes to your hiring processes, making sure there's more than just one in the room, you also don't want to, if you have one, you don't have to feel pressured to speak for everyone, because that gets really dangerous. And hello, I have biases, and so do you. Also, if there's an overemphasis on like diversity for optics versus actual genuine inclusion, that's a problem, right? Diversity for optics, and we all know what it feels like, performative. We call it performative pride during Pride Month, put a rainbow on it. And it's one of those things where you kind of know it when you see it. Again, I look left and I look right, and if I don't see anyone else in the room, oops. That's not to say too, I don't want to say this, like, if you're the only one in the room right now, help find another one, right? If you only want a room right now at a smaller company, it's because you're probably at a smaller company. I'm very lucky at Highly. We are extraordinarily diverse, and I'm so proud of it every day because I can look left and right and see people with different backgrounds, different languages, talking about different lived experiences, and with different backgrounds in technology and age that allow us to collaborate around this thing that's representing a tool for people of different backgrounds and ages to use to find home, right? I think also, if we think about Tiffany, I think running culture surveys, technology in the cultural employee experience platforms, I think it's called EXPs. The data's not going to lie.
Mm-hmm.
And so utilizing AI to really process that data and help you find gaps, I think it's an incredible opportunity. If we look at biannual or annual reviews, using AI to help write them, using AI to help read them, process what your feedback is, using AI to make sure that the reviews that you're getting aren't biased, to look and making sure that they're qualitative and quantitative and not just opinion based to the degree. I think AI can help us with that.
Yeah.
AI is a creative tool for me right now. I think AI is a creative tool for everybody, actually. Creative, whatever your version of creativity is. Creativity comes in creating great, amazing employee experiences. That's creativity. So utilizing it now. But remember, humans in the loop, like hula hooping.
Exactly.
That's what
No,
this is.
I feel like people are so afraid of AI and thinking that it's taking out the human element. And I think you can really find ways to use it in order to bring that in. And like, that's a way I never thought about it. But you're so right that AI can really help you bring the creativity in and it can help you mold what you're trying to say in a more effective way. So I love
Well,
that.
hey, let's unpack that. I think I want to unpack that. So
Yeah.
I use Claude, ChatGPT, Perplexity all the time, and I've probably used it to comment. I've used it to send a Slack message. I've used it to certainly send an email instead of per my last email. I'm like, Claude, I want to say this to Janet. I don't work with any Janets. This is all hyperbolic. Utilize it. Figure out a way to say it in different ways. Right now, I'm working my executive presence, my executive voice, how I can tell a story better. So I put it what I want to say into Claude and it'll regurgitate something out first draft. Now I've worked with Claude for so long, and you can work with these different chatbots and train them by giving them prompting that based upon your voice and tone. Claude and I have a relationship. God, that's weird. I have a relationship with the technology that allows me to know how to prompt Claude to better mimic my written voice. But it's given me more concise emails. It's given me more clarity in my written voice. And now I'm learning how to be more clear, right? Isn't that the adage? If I had more time, I would have written a shorter email, as my boss Rob used to tell me. Claude has given us the ability to optimize our written voice to be more clear. Now that's internal, right? That's in an email. Externally, let's look at like the idea of a chatbot that's able to communicate in multiple different languages on your landing page, right? Multifamily, the ability, let's say in this instance, to speak Spanish. That's amazing. The accessibility quotient for that is huge. Here is something to keep in mind when it comes to authenticity. So someone with a lived experience who's, let's say Spanish is their first language, is coming through, they go to your property website, it's in this clear, concise, almost native vernacular that's, wow, this feels authentic. They know me. Then when the transition happens and a human is in the mix, we have to be mindful to set up expectations, whether or not that next human can speak fluent Spanish, or that any more correspondence will be in that Spanish. And that's a disconnect we have to come face to face with when it comes to using technology versus the handoff into what is the actual experience on site. Do I have
Yeah.
an answer? Use more technology. Make sure utilize more technology, but also be mindful of that handoff,
Yeah.
I think there's a majority of Americans want to know if they are engaging with AI. Be transparent about it. That way you're
Yeah.
setting expectations too, right? And that's culture, baby. That's transparency, baby. A culture of transparency, of honesty, and of integrity. That'll go far. If you're telling your user, hey, you're talking to a chatbot right now. This chatbot has a natural language processing in your native language. We're so glad we could speak to you right now. Just so you know, you'll be meeting with Mindy. Mindy has a limited knowledge of Spanish, but we're very happy to help you. And we're going to do our best to make sure you're getting all these points. And we've given Mindy everything she needs to know to take you on this tour and show you exactly what you've wanted to see. And what's cool is maybe this person who you're chatting with hasn't told you what they wanted to see precisely, but the AI is able to process, these are their pain points, this is their passion points, make sure this is on the tour, and Mindy will be ready to go.
Yeah. It's such a good point. Justin and I work for competing AI companies. And one thing that we've always said is like, nobody wants to be tricked into thinking that it's a human that you're speaking with. So as long as you're transparent with, okay, you're talking to a bot, and if the bot can handle my issue, I don't really care that I'm talking to a bot. I just want it to do what I need it to do. And if it gives all that background, that's really going to help because what if that person needed to bring a family member with them that could understand the leasing agent or whatever? Then they have that knowledge and they can prepare accordingly. So I think all that transparency is going to be so important.
So important. We have a saying here at Hiley called "Let AI be AI." And I know that's weird to say out loud without context. Let humans be human is my thing. Let AI be AI.
Yeah.
Don't try to make it. My suggestion for the people out there in TV land, for our operators using AI, embrace it, be empowered by it, but let it be AI. Let AI do
Mhm.
AI's thing. Be transparent about it, and then you'll
Yeah.
realize hopefully, how much time that's saving for you humans to be more human. For my vendors, let AI be AI. I think I'm not of the school of anthropomorphizing technology, and I have to be mindful not to. You'll hear me talk about Claude like they have a personality, but Claude is just technology. Claude is not a
Yeah.
real thing. And I think if we try to make AI too much, it goes in that uncanny valley experience. So just let AI be AI. Let the AI you're creating do AI really well and make sure it's relevant to the person who's utilizing it. In our instance, making the renter journey better or making the operation stronger or increasing NOI. But it doesn't have to really do all the cool tricks and whirligoos that you think it is just to get purchased for the next year in budget season. Fact
Yeah.
of the matter is, if you try to oversell AI or overplay AI and it underwhelms, that's a worse experience.
Yeah. You're so right. I do want to dive into a different topic a little bit.
Mhm.
How can people stay true to themselves with all this new tech out there and just continuing to let themselves shine in the middle of having all this tech access?
Yeah. Gosh, there's so much tech, right? And the
Yeah.
joke is that multifamily is a few months behind years where other industries are. And
Yeah.
hey, I was talking to the team at Elm a couple weeks ago. By the way, Tiffany, am I allowed to mention property management
Yeah.
companies?
Yeah. Yeah. Whatever
Okay.
you want.
I was speaking with the team at Elm last month and doing what I call like a one-on-one AI exchange with them, which I get to do. I get to travel around the country and talk to all these really cool leaders. And we were discussing the slow and steady wins the race mentality. We are in the business of giving people homes, right? So I don't think multifamily needs to be in a huge rush to embrace
Mm,
technology because I think we could be very pragmatic on how we look at AI, how we shop for it, and how we adopt it. Because
mm,
I also talk about this like the first date mechanism, like with Claude and I. Claude had that wow factor for me the first time I used it, and therefore I'm kind of embedded with it. The same with like Descript or Canva or Fireflies, right? Fireflies has competitors like I don't know Gopher or Squirrel, I don't know what's called, but I fell in love with Fireflies, so I use Fireflies and I evangelize Fireflies. But when it comes to falling in love with technology, we can be really cognizant of our shopping methodologies and how we implement. And we can move a bit slower because people's homes are at stake here. People's resident experiences are at stake here, which result in bottom line business for you, my operator friends. But when we talk about how people can stay true to themselves while keeping up with new tech, um, I want to talk about the idea of mindset. And mindset comes from the core of your companies, comes from leadership. Could come from top down, or it could come from that amazing, loud, excitable on-site person, the adopter, that first follower who's never a laggard, who's always the first to raise their hand. Help create mindset through the entire fabric of your company around technology. What is our mindset? That's for y'all to decide out there, my operator friends. As a vendor, I literally have to embrace it.
It's called managing up. If it's
Yeah,
not coming from the
yeah.
top down, then you just manage it up.
Manage it up. Think about mindset. Think about experimentation, right? How are you personally experimenting with AI? And in experimentation, I want to bring up the idea of learning. So, Christy Fickert and I run the AI Exchange. You're all invited. Tiffany, I think you've been there. Putting yourself in communities where people are learning, people who like you are learning, is a great opportunity for you to bridge the gap, A, between other people in your industry, and to stay true to yourself and to see someone just like you struggling with it or is excelling. So be in learning environments because that's what I've done to get where I am. I just learn and learn and learn and learn. I listen, I learn, I process. I think attending conferences or downloading for your colleagues who cannot come to conferences the information that you're getting and then do a retro around it. Give them that lived experience. Not all our on-site friends can come to our different regional shows or certainly not our national shows. So bring that experience home, bring those bite-sized content. You can literally use a thing called Fireflies to record the sessions, and the Fireflies can take notes on those sessions and put them out for you to give to your team, or you could literally record them for yourself and say, here's the high level, and share it with your team.
Yeah,
And I
I
think,
remember I used to have to do that every time I went to an event. I was required to write like a one page. And I think it was actually a good exercise because it made me actually focus and not just dilly-dally around the conference and
Yeah. I think it's like embracing the known unknowns that will put you in a great place. I want you all to be mindful of the unknown unknowns, right? I think in AI, headline AI, and we mean by that, like the this just in AI is what I do, the big bold headlines. There are a lot of unknown unknowns out there that can trigger and trip us up from what's actually right in front of us right now, the known knowns. Tackle the known knowns, what you got, what you know is right in front of you. And then look forward maybe into the known unknowns, start contemplating the what ifs. But with the unknowns, if that even makes sense right now, let them go for now. All right. Because right now you have to lease an apartment. You don't have to save the world
yep.
yet. Unless you want to come save the world, then reach out to me. I think that's it. Yeah. Community, learn, be honest with yourself, find a Justin. And then for the Justins out there, the Justins and the Tiffany's even, find someone who doesn't seem as comfortable and take them under your wing. I think mentorship in this
Mhm.
industry, if you look at even what Tara's doing, is
Yeah.
so valuable because our industry was not built on multifamily school. I have a degree in multifamily. No, I have a degree in the school of hard knocks. I have a degree in dumpster fire, lease renewal, eviction, tour, cat, onslaught of freezing rain, other dumpster fire, while learning how to be a professional in this world that has trained me. So your lived experiences could be lived experiences expertise, but always keep learning and find a mentor.
Right.
Find a diverse mentor. Because I love learning from other people who look and sound like me because we have shared lived experiences. But
Yeah.
I will tell you, most of my mentors are cis women, actually. Yeah.
And it's good to have mentors for different areas of your life too. Like I have so many mentors. I have different mentors in this professional environment and they are a diverse group of people and that's awesome. And I love that I have that perspective from all those different people. So yeah, I think that's a great point.
Yeah. And if we need to route that back to authenticity, the biggest question you can ask your mentor, actually, let's say you don't have time for a mentor, right? Let's say you're a little sheepish about walking up to Virginia Love and being like, will you go to lunch with me, goddess diva of our industry, which was terrifying. Talk to ChatGPT, talk to Claude. Claude, prompt Claude to be your mentor. Say, Claude, you're an expert in blank. Give them the pain points, give them your passion points, ask your questions, work with Claude. The biggest thing, we haven't even discussed this, which is so funny. We talked about algorithmic biases. I always like to mention hallucinations, which could be tied to an algorithmic bias, which would be incorrect information that's regurgitated or delivered in the response from the AI.
Hmm.
Be mindful, right? This goes back to authenticity in your communication style, which I kind of wanted to cover. When you're using AI to communicate, you could literally copy and paste that first response, which I think I did once. And Ben Stewart said, "This is really good. It doesn't sound like you." I went, "You're right. You're right. It sounds like the person I wanted to sound like, but where was Justin?" And Ben knows me very well because we talk so often and he's heard me thought lead. So does it sound like you? Continue to work iteratively with your technology to sound more authentic. Don't feel like you have to put on that visage of tech bro or tech person or AI evangelist. Be the person you are right now. And that was the one thing I said when I took this job. It's like, I'm not going to come in and be a guru. I'm going to come in and learn in real time with the industry and be the brightest light that guides multifamily to thrive in our AI era. That is my literal motto for my job. When you're using AI, always check for hallucinations because the AI can be incorrect. It's frequently incorrect when it comes to very technical things. It can become incorrect with how you're communicating emotionally. Always double check. And there are a few trigger words too that I think it was Sydney Weber who called him out, multifamily sector. And now I refuse to use the term game changing or groundbreaking. I can't use them
Mm.
now because it's what I see. And
Well,
I
now
think
that adds a new one to my repertoire of not
yeah,
use.
game changer, I get rid of. Yeah. There's a few buzzwords in there. And sometimes I troll people's LinkedIn posts and I will literally copy and paste on purpose the most garbage AI response just to make it known that I'm using AI to respond. Such valuable information. So thought leady, very game changing multifamily sector. Like that's what it sounds like, right? That's not
Yeah.
authentic. Authentic
Yeah.
Justin be like, pop off queen, right? Now, what's the delicate balance? I could go into Claude and be like, Claude, what's the delicate balance between blah 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 tech blah 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 intelligence and girl that's slay, congratulations on promotion? Like what's the medium? Claude could probably help on that,
Yeah. It's true.
or ChatGPT. I don't want to just say to one. An LLM can help with that.
Yeah. Find your
Slay queen.
platform and use it.
Yeah, and then evangelize, bring someone else to it, unless that platform is garbage and then you're held responsible. But I don't want to unpack that. We're talking very simply right now about authenticity. So I think authenticity is a journey towards you. Authenticity is a journey towards discovery of what your voice is in any given certain situation. And AI gives you a neutral place to go play with that. And as AI is progressing in voice, you could literally have dialogues. Now we're talking about unknowns. Do I think we're going to get to a place where the Her experience is happening? That film Her with Joaquin Phoenix? Yes. If we think about the value that I talked about with technology and community bringing us together, I think we have to start thinking about AI being a part of that community. What happens when AI is a member of our community doing blank? It's already there, actually. It's already sitting on your favorite Meta products, and that could be, by and large, a community as a product. Being mindful of where AI is in your life and how to utilize it responsibly.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. And as we, I always do that. As we wrap up, I just want to ask, like, what advice would you give somebody who is struggling to be themselves in that environment? And like you're saying, they're using these big tools, but they're trying to find their own voice in the middle of that. And I know you kind of already said, like, go through multiple iterations and make sure it really does sound like you. Is there anything else you would suggest?
Yeah, well, that's very tactical. Using an LLM to speak to your boss and be like, please don't call me that. How do I per my last email, my boss?
Yeah.
We talked about tech and like the tech culture, and I think that speaks a lot to maybe some of the vendors watching right now too. And I think we're really fortunate also in multifamily to have great vendors, yours included. Who I feel so at home with our vendor set because I
Yeah.
do think we are very human, very chosen family here in this industry,
Yeah.
and I think that vendors who are not built by and for multifamily find their exits very quickly. But the
Mm,
ones who've risen to the top, I think, have very strong cultures of inclusivity, or at least are challenging themselves to do that. So let's look at as a whole. I want to include our operators here on this dialogue too, because just because it's on site doesn't mean it's not a hub for technology. I mean, if you look at our A-class properties, right, who are having to have Internet of Things, having to have smart devices, having to have technology all around them. I have one marketing director I work with here who we did an exchange who I think has 29 different sign-ins. And what that means is 29 different point solutions solving 29 different problems, right? So
yeah.
we're distributed across technology, especially when we get more bigger budgets. But I want to level set. Doesn't matter your budget, doesn't matter A, B, or C. Technology can be a part of it, and it should. I didn't even get into that, but A, B, or C properties, technology can be a part of it. Every renter deserves a beautiful handoff experience, a beautiful journey, and technology can help do that. Every on-site person deserves the tools they need to be better at being human. We can afford those things right now. And every manager here has the ability and should deserve the ability to manage up and manage down and be that mindset leader. So now we're all level set. We're all tech together, right? And we're now talking about authenticity. Okay, now being authentic on site, being authentic at my job here at Highly, being authentic at NAA, being authentic wherever you're working at right now. When it comes to authenticity and when it comes to technology, start small. Find out what that thing is you want to bring to the Zoom call that day, that thought, or find that technology and find the one thing you want to do with it and try it out. Then find your allies. I have work besties, and if you're watching, you're one. And everyone's like, that's me, because basically everyone's my work bestie, right? Find your besties, find your work besties, find your allies, right? Those people with lived experiences or different experiences, and communicate with them. Set up a kiki, as I call them, set up a mentorship. Same with tech. Find the technology that you can align with quickly that makes you feel confident and comfortable, and utilize it. Set your boundaries. I'm terrible at this, friends, so I shouldn't be giving advice on setting boundaries. Set the boundaries of how much authenticity you want to bring versus I'm going to strategically not mention this. I'm not
Mm,
going to bring this up. It depends on what your culture is at your job. Maybe there's a day you don't want to be on screen versus you do want to be on screen. That's an intelligent boundary setting usage of technology, right? This amazing webcam that lets me be in your living room versus maybe just one day I'm not in the position to want to be on screen, be seen like this. Utilize tools for personalization in your communication. I think it's helping me up level my communicative language. It can help you up level your communicative language. One of the things I work with when I'm talking to on-site folks is if you have an idea and you have a struggling with how to communicate it to your decision makers and your leaders, use an LLM. Put all your ideas in there and let it turn into something, and then share that in an email or a note. Or manifest it, right? I mean, you can go out there and build these GPTs. You can go out and build these Canva things. Like if you've got an idea, use Canva. Just put in the prompt and then have the poster, right? For an
yeah.
event. Again, like that's how you're utilizing the tools for personalization communication. And then if that event is how to throw a pride parade, how to throw a Latin Heritage Month, how to throw a Women's History Month, how to celebrate MLK Day, right? The biggest thing too, and I think is patience with yourself and authenticity. Be kind to yourself too when it comes to being authentic at work. Be mindful. Like I really just be mindful of how you feel when you're authentic. If something feels not right, be patient, maybe scale it back a bit. Or something feels strong, you can utilize it more. Like, right, it's just little investments into that lake of authenticity. But the biggest thing is remember that you are valuable and you are so valued. Your lived experience makes you an expert at that thing. You might not communicate it right all the time. You might make stupid mistakes. You might say something like poop on Tiffany's thing. Like, okay, I said poop. Please edit that out. Don't edit it out. Like, that happens, right? Poop happens, everyone. But I think that more and more purpose-driven employees, authentic-driven employees, especially this younger generation, are leading with authenticity. It's because they know the value of that authenticity. And the managers, we have to learn how to manage that. Because this is the other side of it too. Managing Justin for all my queer talents, managing Dana Duckworth or Monica Frazier for all their amazing talented lived experiences is going to be different than managing Tiffany to get the best of Tiffany out.
Yeah.
And you can't manage us the same way.
It's so
because
true.
we have these tools in us. Tiffany shared some lived experiences today that could help you discover and unlock capabilities you didn't know were part of Tiffany. And if we go on this journey of our individual authenticity, I challenge my managers, go on that journey and working with your team around authenticity. Let's go back. Start small, bring on authentic moments, find who your allies are, who are your authentic leaders, utilize them, find your first followers, find your laggards and help them get there. Set boundaries for authenticity, make sure you're using inclusive language, right? Make sure there is rules for community engagement. We do that on the AI exchange. Utilize tools for personalization, utilize tools like your employee experience tools, right? Like Slack, like making sure that emojis represent hand colors, making sure that they're pronouns, right? Be patient with your team. And remember, your team is valuable for their lived experiences. It all works.
I love it.
And technology can be a part of all of it as a techno optimist.
I love it. Yeah, it's so true. And I think that's a perfect way to wrap up. Before we go, I have one other quick question. And this is something I ask everybody who's on my podcast. Is there a tech tool that's not Claude that you are loving right now and you want everybody to know about and you would just suggest to everyone?
Okay, I have two. Well, actually, one. I'm working on a brand new webcam right now that, let's see if it works. It'll track me if I move. I think I turned it off, and it'll like zoom in and stuff and kind of clean up my appearance. It's a brand new 4K webcam by a company called Obsbot. Anyway, it's the Obsbot virtual camera. I just got it and I really love it, but I digress. That's for people working remotely. For people working remotely, y'all, sound and visuals do matter, right? Clean sound and clean visuals are how you are heard and addressed. So know that that's a part of, like, just as much as what you're wearing is how you're perceived in your visuals. I digress. Technology that I'm really obsessed with. I think it'll follow me. No, still broken. Technology I'm obsessed with right now. It's a program called Descript. And this is any technology to take the content that me and my fellow marketers are using. We mentioned this the other day on the Revise Roundtable for Marketing Leaders. Any of those technologies that help you record and edit and turn out quality content exponentially faster than ever before. I will give a shout out to Descript. I love using Descript. I'm going to say Descript one more time. I do not get paid by Descript. It's not like I'm like an Olsen. I get paid if I say the name of like some product. Nope, I don't get paid by Descript. Any tool out there right now that helps you edit faster, of course, I will say Descript. That's what I'm using right now.
I love it.
And, I use it for this just in. Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about that. And I think that was the one you said that it can track your eye movement, right? And like make sure your eyes are in.
It can track, yeah. I don't want to give too much away, but it can do a heck of a lot, actually. So tell me, Descript is great. When you bring Descript into the platform, it actually puts up the transcription, which back in the day you had to pay for videos. It automatically transcribes. Do you remember that? It automatically transcribes, and I can edit based upon the soundbite of my choosing. And then it creates that timeline. It's gorgeous. It's got eyeline correction. I can overdub my own voice. The other day on this just in, I said the wrong date, and I overdubbed myself saying the right date, and the AI said it for me. That's where it gets crazy.
That's nuts.
But not if I sing. I don't think the AI could do that. So that's why
You should try it. I want to know if that happened.
That's how you're going to know if Justin's a bot or not. It's like, Justin didn't use an Australian accent and didn't sing in this meeting. That's not Justin. That's a bot. He's fired. Yeah.
Was this whole
he's
episode
in Cabo. Does not.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for joining me. And where can people find you and connect with you and learn more about what you're doing in the multifamily space?
Sure. Yeah. I encourage everyone here to follow me on LinkedIn at Official Justin Jones. You can, of course, find me through Tiffany. Please click follow and connect. I love making friends on there. Also, I have the opportunity to go to different events we have here across the multifamily sector. But if you are looking for an experience, see what I did there? If you're looking for an experience for your team, your regional team, your on-sites, your executive leadership, message me because I will come and I will run an exchange with y'all. I will run what you and I, Tiffany, just did in real time, addressing inside baseball and with our inside voices, the opportunities and experiences that AI can bring to you. And that is my full-time job to talk to you about what AI can do, aside from our friends here at BetterBot and Hailey and Elise, to expanding into everyone across artificial intelligence. Because as your multifamily AI guy, that is my sworn duty. See, I made a voice. There we go. It's really
I
me.
love it. Thank you so much. I really had such a great time with you, and I thank you so much. Everybody tune in next week, and yeah, that's all.